Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation homebrew news and much, much more. So, I am super pumped because we have had all kinds of things happening in the PlayStation 5 scene just over the last couple of days. So, yesterday, if you watched my YouTube video, I released a video where I was talking about this PS5 UMTX jailbreak since we got a screenshot that was released by Spectre Dev, which is this one right here. Now, I am pleased to say that for version 2.x, that has now been released. Let's take a look at the notes now. So over on X, Spectre said, I've published a WebKit implementation of the UMTX exploit for PS5 on 2.x firmwares, hoping to add support for 1.x firmware soon. Our firmwares will take some changes to make it work. See the README as always. So I've went ahead and I have opened this page here. And if we scroll down just a little bit here, this gives a full summary on what this UMTX jailbreak actually is. Now, what is interesting is that when you scroll down into this just a little bit, you will see that it states that this vulnerability impacts 1.0 firmware to 7.61, and that for 3.x or greater than 3.x, they seem to have additional mitigations that require tweaking of the exploit to work. He is focusing on the lower firmwares right now, but the higher firmwares will be coming later. Now, for this current version, it states that the following firmwares are currently supported: 2.0 all the way up to 2.50. And what you get with this is obtains arbitrary kernel read-write, and it just enables the debug settings menu and gets the root privileges, and it runs John Tornblom's elf loader on port 9020, where you can send over certain payloads for it to execute. Now, do keep in mind right here that this is not a hypervisor exploit. That is something that, at least with 2.0, we believe that Flats has. Now, if he'll actually release it, that is to be determined. Now, one thing that does seem to be confusing people quite a bit, and which has been updated since I originally tweeted about this, and that was that before it said a WebKit-based kernel exploit and jailbreak for PS5 1.00 to 7.61, and then it has been changed to a WebKit kernel exploit and jailbreak for the PlayStation 5. And the reason I believe that was changed was because a number of folks thought that this immediately would going to be working for 1.0 all the way up to 7.61. Now, over on my Twitter, I did a little breakdown here, and basically what I stated here was that if you are on a PS5 version 1.x, then right now there is nothing that you can do with this, but there should be something pretty soon since it's already working in 2.x. That was probably going to be a pretty quick thing. Now, for 2.x, that's obviously implemented right now, and that is for all firmwares on 2.x. For things such as the 3.x and the 5.x, those will be coming soon. And then for 6.x and 7.x, it is absolutely doubtful for WebKit because we don't have anything at least publicly disclosed at this moment, but we should be able to use the Blu-ray disk drive in order to bypass that. Now, I highlighted Spectre's messages here, and it stated 3.x and 5.x will probably be later. 6.x to 7.x isn't happening unless another WebKit implementation is released that gets read-write, and it will probably have to rely on someone's BDJ implementation for those firmwares, which really matches up to things that I've been stating for really the past week on all of this. Now, for those of you that do want to go ahead and try this, you can check this out right now on EchoStretch's site. It's just the ES7in1.site, as well as Control Execute or Zeco Shell has and added to his host right here as well, in case you want to use an alternative host there. Now, one thing that we did see from Echo Stretch was that he released a video here showing it in action. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so heading over to his site here, you can see it said downloading new cache. Now, this is showing current firmware being at 2.50. And then once it finishes caching the site, there is just a reload that's done here. And then pressing the jailbreak button, immediately you get that kind of pop-up message, which we're kind of used to, but it looks like the second time that everything works pretty well here. It does seem that it kind of sticks for a second after that found case stack, at least from the videos that I've seen so far. But now at this point, they are in pretty good shape, and in just a second, it will finish up with the remaining of that text that we saw when SpectreDev originally released a screenshot. So right there, it is loading the ELF file, and it is opened up an ELF loader listening on port 9021. Now, this video did not show the pop-up message, which we saw right over here in the original tweet from SpectreDev, which showed the debug message here that said hello world. More than likely, the reason for that is because the 2.50 system that was shown in Echo Stretch's tweet absolutely wouldn't be supported right now, or I don't think that it actually was supported in this current version. So now is an absolutely great time if you do have one of those 2.x systems that you haven't been able to do anything with, to go ahead and to take advantage of what we have right now. Now, again, this is only going to get you the debug settings, so you won't be able to do some of the other things, such as like run libhijacker, where you could run things like ETA-hen, or you could go ahead and run items flow or PS4 Explorer 2.0, and the list goes on and on. But for the rest of us, especially on some of these other firmwares right here, I will say that we should be seeing something pretty soon out of this. Obviously, I will be keeping you all up to date as I see something. And this for 6.x and 7.x, just make sure that you do have access to a Blu-ray burner. Now, you can find Blu-ray burners on Amazon and a bunch of different places like that. And I would just go ahead and secure one, as well as get a read-writable disk, where you will be absolutely ready on day one for that. Just one more quick thing, and I will let you go. This is that inside of the original repo, there was an optional command here that said uncomment the kernel.data dump code and run the dump server script. And it said note the address port must be substituted in the exploit.js. So this is basically to dump the kernel.data, which if you go over to the script here, you can see right here on line 1224 and 1225, that is where those addresses are stored. And you can go up a bit and you can learn a little bit more about it. Okay, and so that is going to do it for this one. As always, if you want to stay updated with everything, follow me on X and subscribe to my YouTube channel here. And heck, turn on the bell notifications. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael out.